Ladies and gentlemen, theys and gays, welcome to Mosh Pit 101 with my friend Bryan from the Super Thrash Brothers and me, Spencer, amateur everything. We'll teach you how to mosh and have a good time doing it.
And now back down with the feeling, and I can lie. You know it won't be long until the end. Let the spotlight shine on me again.
All right.
I
Now
had
we got
no
the blood
clue about
flowing.
any of that.
Oh, my mom's calling me. Oh, Donna, not now. All right. Anyway,
That's Blackout by Turnstile.
all right, so before we start, there is a bit of an entry exam. So by a raise of hands, who here likes music? Excellent. Who here likes having fun without it being at someone else's expense? Congratulations, you all passed. Welcome to Mosh Pit 101.
Give yourselves a round of applause.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Professional.
So you may ask yourself, and I'm assuming you have this question. Oh, sorry. I'm not in fighting shape like I used to be. It's been a long winter. So what is moshing? Well, I'm glad you guys all showed up today on the first day of MAGFest 2024. On day one, yes, we appreciate you because they gave us this time to be able to make sure that everybody's as safe as possible this year. So, what is moshing? Moshing is a release of energy. It's communal. We're all together. We're all here to be safe. We're all here to have fun, let out an aggression in a safe and controlled setting. And the control is the important aspect.
Controlled chaos, absolutely. So you may ask yourself, too, where did the term moshing come from? Well, any of the older punks in the room might know a gentleman by the name of HR from the band Bad Brains. He's a Jamaican fellow with an accent, and so he saw a bunch of punks like, why are they all mashing together? But with his accent, it sounded like moshing. Yeah, we got the term.
What music can you mosh to? The better question is, what music can you not mosh to? Honestly, if there's a beat, there's consistent rhythm, and you're feeling bold and brave enough, you can honestly mosh to anything.
Johann Sebastian Bach, 3/4 time, waltz mosh it up, man, let's do it.
I opened up a circle pit to an acoustic opener to a local band once he was strumming an open chord with stage banter, and I opened up a circle pit, and he was so scared. So there is rules to the mosh pit, a little term that we like to call pit etiquette. But before we go into that, we have our friend John here, head of concert. Yes?
Keeping y'all safe.
Keeping y'all safe. John is the head of con staff security, and he is the head of concert security, more accurately. And we have a few words here from John. So, John, you have the floor.
Take it away.
All right, guys, I'm just kind of riffing here. I did not do an awesome presentation like this, and I didn't know we were running around. I didn't know that was a thing, but good job to y'all. Y'all did great.
Thank you.
Just background information, concert security is a separate entity from door side security. Those are the red vests that you see, and they are separate from public safety. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I work on a training field, so I'm used to just yelling really loud at my students. So microphone is kind of new. But we have three separate safety departments here at MAGFest. And then lastly, we do have EMS and police on site. So just know when you talk to one, it might not be necessarily talking to the other. But the big bullet point I want to stress about concert security is we are your friends. We are...
The guys in the white shirts, they are there to make sure that you are safe. They make sure that you don't get hurt. And if something goes wrong, you see somebody in a white shirt, you go to them, all right? If something's going wrong, something goes sideways, find a white shirt.
It doesn't always trickle down this way, and I apologize if anybody has ever had any situation other than this. But I train all my people. Your verbal conversation, your verbal judo needs to be when you talk to an attendee, I want them to look at you and say, my bad, I didn't know. Do you want to get a beer later?
Communication is key.
Absolutely.
I promise you, we are here for you. We are here for your safety. And if you ever have an issue with somebody in a white shirt, you come talk to me. I am all about transparency.
Transparency and accountability.
I want to talk to you. I do not want to read about stuff on Reddit. I'd much rather resolve the situation then.
Yeah, fuck Reddit. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck Reddit.
I promise you, working my ways up the ranks in 15 years at MAGFest, starting out as just a concert security person, when I became concert department head, it's team lead and then department head, one of my first things when I had the authority to, I booted somebody I had a problem with because I didn't like how they had dealt with attendees. So I promise I'm here for you.
All right, give it up for John, everybody.
Thank you, John. John's a busy man. He's got to go catch another meeting, but
John's
you'll see him around.
Yes, John's a busy man. He's got to catch the head of security meeting. So give it up for John one more time. Fuck it, give it up for John one more time. All right, now give it up for Spencer.
All right,
Maybe
give it up for Bryan.
Give it up for me.
All right.
Oh, stop. Anyway.
Now that we're done milking attention, you want to take the first one?
Sure. First rule of the pit is the first rule of life, and that is very plain and very simply. If you see someone fall down, you pick them back up. Pick them up. We don't need to trample anybody. We don't need to step on anybody. We're all here to have fun for the same reasons.
Pit stops, pick up, resume.
Exactly.
Second one is probably one that you and I should focus on more is know your limits. Yeah, so I mean, when you're in the moment, the adrenaline pumping, you're having the best time in the world, but you're going to get exhausted, especially when the music's over and it's just like, oh yeah, I'm 33 going to conventions and I sit up to 4 in the morning. Oh no, it'll all hit you.
Yeah, no, when you hit that fatigue and you're going to strain yourself, you're going to pull a muscle, you're going to hurt somebody else, you're going to hurt yourself, and we don't want that.
No.
Keep track of your shit. We all like being fashionable with our chains and our studs and our spikes and our fishnets, but some of those little dangly bits and pointy bits can be hazards in the pit. So if you have the ability to maybe not have those, try that. And also try not to go into the pit with anything that you're not ready to lose, because there's a lot of stuff that typically gets lost in pits. Side note, if you see something like a shoe or a phone, hold that up. Make sure that if somebody has lost something, make sure they don't leave without it. Something as simple as shining a phone flashlight under it, at it, whatever. Make sure the attention is gotten.
Oh, that didn't turn on. Yeah. And more importantly, too, pits are for us. Pits are for everybody. We're all here to have a good, fun time. So just make sure you're not doing, get a general vibe for what's going on around, If you see a circle going on, don't be the guy to run in there and just break it all up. Just go with the flow of things.
All right. And we talked about what pits are for. Let's talk about what pits are not for. Pits are not for violence. You're not going to go in there and settle a score. You're not going to go in there and knock someone out. You're not going to go in there and hurt somebody. Again, it's a communal release of energy, and we're all here together, and we got to look out for each other. Don't be that dick that punches someone in the pit. Don't be that guy.
I remember talking to MAG staff last year, and they had someone. MAGFest is an interesting situation where you have nerd culture and music culture coming together, and a lot of times, I know with the Super Thrash Brothers, a lot of people's first metal shows are at one of yours. But you had a person go in, saw a pit, got super excited, ran in there, just decked someone in the face, and ran out of the pit. And no, bro, no, that's
Yeah. Real quick, can we get a communal fuck that guy? 1, 2, 3.
Fuck that guy.
I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Al. Important topic, too. Pits are not consent. Now, don't get me wrong. When you're in a pit, you're going to bump into people. You might, oops, sorry, like, or like, oh man, I'm super excited. Oh, my bad. Like that's gonna happen, but it's not it's not consent to just grope or touch anybody in an appropriate manner. Don't get me wrong. If you don't want to get wet, you don't stand in the splash zone. So if you don't want to be touched, you shouldn't go in the pit. But don't ever, ever intentionally grope or touch or something, because we don't take kindly to that.
Much like how cosplay isn't consent, mosh pits aren't either.
All right, up next we have a personal friend of mine, everyone's favorite niche punk rock micro-celebrity TikToker, Grabmaster Hash.
If you don't follow him yet, follow him now because he is fucking incredible. Take it away, Grabmaster Hash.
That's right, it's me, Grabmaster Hash, micro niche celebrity influencer. And thank you for that awesome introduction, Bryan and Spencer. I'm so excited to be here at MAGFest in Maryland at the... I'm not saying that.
It's someone's last name, bro.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's the last... Thank you, Bryan. At the Gaylord. And if you haven't already seen from your awesome instructors how to pit it up, I'm going to show you some of my moves now. Let's start off with the classic, what I'm best known for, the two-step. Here we go. So first, you go 1, 2, 1, 2, and that's your leg motion. And then you start throwing your fist down, and then you get angry, and you start thinking about all the people trying to stop you, and you step out, and he's always saying, "Who's big now, Bill? Who's big now?" All right? Yeah, that's how you do it. I mean, you put your own trauma in there, but do you? So next up, if you haven't already noticed, I'm a huge fan of the ska pits, to prove it. And then let me show you how we do the two-step in ska. It's the same exact thing, except for I'm punching up. And instead of thinking about bad stuff, like how stepdads suck, I'm thinking about kittens and birthday cakes and MAGFest and hanging out with my friends and dressing like a dummy. It's called cosplay. Yeah, and it's awesome, right? Cool. And now, let me show you some more signature moves. These are not complicated, but they do take a little practice to understand. First up, picking up the change. You're grabbing the change. You're throwing it. You're grabbing the change. I don't need this change. Fuck the change. They're not charging me for the bus. Fuck them. Yeah, and that's how you do it. And then, there's some other fun moves. You can even make up your own and try them out with your friends. But just to send you off, let me show you another fun move you could do. This is called the lawnmower. Go 1, 2. You gotta do it 3 times so everyone knows you're starting up the lawnmower. And then you grab the lawnmower and you're riding and you're going around. Unless you have one of those motors you ride, then you're too rich to hang out at punk shows. So. Yeah, back to you, Spencer and Bryan. Punk rock.
Give it up for our homie, the CEO of Punk Rock TikTok, Grabmaster Hash. Yeah, so there's a lot of different types of pits, and we ran through the essentials and most common. First up, we have the circle pit. Circle pit is super easy to understand. It is what it says on the tin. Y'all are running in a fucking circle. Y'all are running in a circle. You can two-step in a circle. You can run. You can race walk. You can basically do it as long as whatever you are doing keeps up with the momentum and the speed of the circle. Also, the direction of the circle. That's something that's often overlooked. Got to make sure you follow the flow of traffic, the flow of the rhythm, and the rhyme, and the. But more importantly than going with the flow, don't be that dickhead in the headband.
He never went to Mosh Pit 101.
Never went to Mosh Pit 101. But at your own risk, if you have experience and you are at expert level, feel free to be the guy rowing on the ground.
We're taking the boat.
Yeah, Viking pits are a part of Mosh Pit 104. That's a little bit more of an expert class. But we'll get to that down the road. If you have questions, we'll be answering them later on.
Q&A after.
We'll do a Q&A after.
Important thing to touch on too. Up in the north, circle pits go counterclockwise, but if you go to Australia, they go clockwise.
Much like their toilets, you got to make sure if you ever find yourself in a circle pit in the Great Down Under, you go the other way.
Yeah, true facts. I'm
True
the source.
facts here.
Don't contest it. Don't ask me.
don't contest.
All right, so up next, if you've been to a Sum 41 show or a Rise Against show, you could just tune out of this one because you've already experienced it. The Push Pit. This happens when the crowd is just too big to have any sort of controlled chaos, and the whole entire crowd just turns into a wave of people. In those sort of moments, your best bet is just kind of go with the flow, go back and forth. If you ever hit a point where you're just getting a little claustrophobic, I find this formation is the best way to try and guarantee yourself some space, just so. And, of course, we all know that concert drinks are not cheap, so if you got your $15 soda or PBR, make sure to keep that in there and keep
Hold
track
that
of your
bitch
drink.
up.
Yes.
Next up is a personal favorite of mine, the Wall of Death. For those of you who didn't cheer, I promise you it's not as scary as it sounds. I
Don't
know.
mind that gift.
Don't mind that gif. They do shit different in Europe. Fun fact: the original video that this is from, that field was grass when that show started.
Yes, that was a Super Thrash Brothers show.
I
Yeah.
could only wish that it was a Super Thrash Bros show. But Wall of Death, typically called for by whomever is on stage. It starts and you separate, you part the sea, as it were, at a moment of peace, quiet, and tranquility just before the shit hits the fan. You separate. And my rule of thumb is you wait for the person on stage to say go, and then you just fucking book it at the other side of the wall, and you meet right in the middle. Typically, it turns into a push pit, as mentioned above, up there. So, Wall of Death is fairly simple. Wall of Death is basically a game of red light, green light with the front person on stage.
We're really all just adult children, let's be honest here.
No, come on.
So these are things that if you start going to shows or if you frequent shows, you'll see, but please don't do this at MAGFest.
Don't do it at
MAGFest.
MAGFest.
Take two. So this is called crowd killing. Pretty much people are living their Naruto ninja spin kick dreams in the pit, which is fun in the moment for them, but is kind of annoying for anyone else that just wants to, casually two-step and dance along. Because let's face it, dancing is the thank you to the musical guest for performing, and we feed off each other's energy. So, like, if you have like a best friend from 14 and you know each other's limits and whatever, and you want to do a little crowd kill, throw a haymaker, whatever, that's something between the two of you. But don't do that to strangers, and don't do this at MAGFest.
Another thing you shouldn't do at MAGFest that is typically fair game at all other types of concerts, crowd surfing. Crowd surfing, for those who don't understand, again, much like the circle pit, it is what it says on the tin. You want to get yourself up to the front, and everybody in front of you typically puts their hands up, and you just kind of roll and get carried and float through a sea of humanity and bring yourself to the front of the show. Typically, if there is a barricade, there is security staff on the other side of that barricade who are trained to catch you and put you down on the ground safely so that you don't fall and hurt yourselves. Because when you are being crowd surfed, you have little to no control of the direction you're going. You are at the mercy of strangers around you. It's a lot of fun, but it also involves a lot of trust in people you've never met before.
It's important to touch on too, no pun intended, that crowd surfing is also not consent. But if you're up in the air and someone can't see you, hands go where hands go.
Hands go up.
So, important thing in a crowd, if you see people turn around and hands are up in the air, just put your hands up. Just follow what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
Other than that, anything you go up in the air with, be prepared to not come back down with it. So, phones, this and that. Everyone loves their cool crowd surf selfie video. It's really awesome. I'm not going to pretend like they're not, but prepared for your phone to disappear. Yeah, all right.
And with that, we've reached the end of our presentation.
So,
To keep it short and sweet, good luck, have fun, take everything that you have learned here to heart, commit it to memory, and make sure that you just do what we said, and keep it safe, keep it efficient, and you got to make sure that, again, it's communal. It's all about everybody having a good time. Don't be the selfish dick.
Exactly.
Makes it all about themselves.
There's a lot of words that we just said, but really what it comes down to, have a great time, be there for your friends, don't be a dick. That's really it.
So we have a couple of long-form video examples of a circle pit and a wall of death. And for those who are photosensitive in the room, there is a flash warning for the first video. If that's not your cup of tea, here is your warning. That's the moment you take to grab a selfie. And you get it going again. All right. So there's an important bit that we totally forgot to mention.
We didn't forget. We saved it for the end.
We saved it for the end. It was on purpose. Spencer, take it away.
Sure. So being on the outside of a pit or navigating yourself through a pit, it is human nature if there's people around you, like let's say a pit opens up and you don't want it, it's human nature to put your hand out like this, but a few bad things are there. A, this is prime oopsie poopsie, just shouldn't have touched position. B, if your arm is out like this and someone comes that way, you could hurt yourself, or if they go that way, or worst case scenario, both ways. So always, whenever you're trying to navigate a pit, keep your forearm out like this. You have a complete barrier to yourself. You're not at risk of touching anything you shouldn't, and it just allows you, it gives you in a good formation to be able to keep your own space. So
keep your own space, and if you're on the outside of a pit, make sure you are letting people out that want to get out. If someone is getting a little tuckered out and needs a break, let them out. And if there is somebody that is raring to go and they want to get in, let them in. On the outside of the pit, you are essentially the gatekeeper, and you need to make sure that you it's all about safety. You don't want multiple pits opening up, and you don't want someone who's tired to get hurt in the pit they're already in.
So with that said, I've seen some itching hands going up in the air, so if we want to line up for a Q&A, we'll happily answer any questions or hear any sort of additions anyone wants. So
any questions that anyone has, if you want us to share stories, we can share stories.
Come up right to the front. I'll repeat the question so everyone can hear it, or hear.
Okay. Also, one thing to keep in mind, if you are on the outskirts of the mosh pit, do not push that person back in with your full force. It is okay to kind of just guide them along, let them along on their journey. Do not push them back into the pit, into a direction that's not where the pit is going.
Very true.
That is a great way for that person to fall flat on their face and break their nose like what happened to me. Someone had pushed me in that sort of way, and I went flat on my face. Not only that, that's a great way to get trampled. Don't be a dick. So.
Give it up for Heather, everybody.
Thank you. Sure. We have another statement?
What is... Yeah, grab the mic.
Hi, Avery, fellow old and ska fan, sorry.
Hey! Ska music!
Two questions. It's a two-parter. So, best footwear for a pit, if you had a recommendation. And if you have long hair, yeah. Jesus, those are worn. Okay. And if you have long hair, what's the best way that you can avoid that getting caught in people's piercings and other bullshit?
So footwear, make sure it's comfortable. Make sure that you have like a lot of grip. Make sure that you're wearing like something that isn't like worn out and you won't be able to slip and fall. Basically, that's it. Keep yourself comfortable. Keep yourself and safe. Make sure your laces are tied tightly. You don't want to, I get it. Sometimes people's shoes get untied in the pit. But slip-on vans. Slip-on vans are a safe bet.
They are. They might sound like they don't fall off as easy as you may think, and the best part is they're really easy to put back on in case somebody hits your heel or something like that. They kind of fall apart, but it just shows its seasoning.
Another good point. I feel like it should go without saying, but you never know. Closed toes. Don't wear flip-flops in the pit. Don't wear sandals in the pit.
I feel like you should probably take the long hair part too.
So for long hair, there are these beautiful little devices called hair ties. And for those particular examples, when you're moshing, you can just tie yourself up. I typically go with a bun because it keeps if you have like a ponytail that can also get stuck in stuff, tie stuff in a bun and just keep it tight and neat, just like I didn't. And that's typically a good way to go about it.
It is also really fun if you have longer hair to just let it all flow out too. I'm not gonna lie. So
hit it with one of those.
Yeah. What's up, Ben?
Go ahead, bud.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Can I wear my Evan Jelly on cosplay in the pit?
I am a huge advocate. I want my punk friends and my convention friends, because they blend like peanut butter and jelly. We need more cosplay in the pit. Absolutely. Bear in mind, whatever if you worked on it for months on end, you might not be. But if you want to wear a Kigu or something or one that you build out of cardboard,
for those who came in later or don't already know, I am a part of a band called Super Thrash Bros. We cheer louder. Maybe MAGFest will book us next year. Not better. But we all dress up in cosplay, and we all get together and we perform in cosplay. But some of my favorite memories of playing with Super Thrash Bros is watching people in cosplay with like foam swords and like wigs of all colors, just throwing down and mashing into each other, and I love it so much. If you ever find yourself with the chance to go see Super Thrash Bros, I'm not just saying this because I'm in the band. We put on a show that I would want to attend if I wasn't in the band, and that is something I pride myself on. So it's I'll cut it on the self promotion, but yes, cosplay in the pit. I mean it. Context is important, but at a convention, I feel like it's fair game.
I would do anything.
That's fair. How's it going, friend?
Hello, I am a fellow ska lover. And,
ska music!
Ska is awesome. This is okay with two things. I had a story, and then, so I've been going to concerts for a while now and shows and stuff.
Fuck yeah.
My first show ever was, the first ska show was Streetlight Manifesto.
Fuck
it was
yeah!
Great. I was stoked for it. So stoked that I broke my rule of saying I would never crowd surf, and I did because I was.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I was so excited I crowd surfed, and some people decided to not support me, and I fell on my head.
Ooh, yeah, that's happened to me.
Yeah.
About 150 pounds ago,
yeah.
I used to crowd surf too. I feel you.
Yeah. I haven't since, but this dude, I don't know who he is, but shout out to the dude with the wicked beard. He picked me up and bulldozed me through that crowd to get me out.
Hell yeah,
probably saved
man.
my life. So that's just a story I wanted to share.
If you are not able to be a part, most importantly, don't be a part of the problem. Like I said, keep your hands up in the pit. But if you see somebody hurt, or you see somebody not having a good time, be a part of the solution, like that guy with the kick-ass beard in his story, and get someone the fuck out. That's a great example. The white shirts are here for your safety and your health. And your question.
Oh yeah, and the question I had more of like also like your guys' opinion on it. So I've been to a lot of shows where obviously it starts as a circle pit, and then I've seen it slowly dissolve into like you said, push pits and like slam dancing. So it's more of like, how do you guys feel about like when it goes into that? Like, is it something where it's like, oh, should you partake in it or should you stop it? Like, if the majority of people are starting to like, start slam dancing or whatever, should it be like, okay, well, this is just happening now, or is it more of like, you should
That's a. Mind if I get this one?
You go for it.
Hell yeah. No, that's an excellent point. As the show goes on, you might see the nature of the pit change too, especially if it starts off with certain ska bands. You'll start off with a reggae beat and everyone's skanking and bopping around, and then they just go right into hardcore sounds, and then things thrash around. Again, it all comes to your own limits and what you're comfortable with. So by all means, if you want to stay in it or if you want to test the waters, try something new, be there. A lot of that's going to come with the nature of the music itself, because like don't get me wrong, it gets annoying sometimes when your nice circle pit turns into a push pit, or like the opening band, there's some more space for you, and then you go see the headliner and there's no space. Unfortunately, there's not much. It comes down to a vibe. There's not much to do as far as that. But as the music changes, you should be able to enjoy yourself. And then you don't have, like, if we hit a point of just spatial uncomfort, you can go to an outside area, too, if you wanted to. I mean, at streetlight shows, I don't know if you're local to New Jersey, but in Sayreville, we've had, like, satellite pits that are in the less denser portions, so that way you're not just sardined, and there is a little bit of room for movement.
Yeah, no, and as we mentioned earlier, you just got to know what types of situations are going on, and you got to go with the flow. And if you know, and again, tying back to an earlier slide in our presentation, you got to know your limits. If you're not really into a slam dance, you're not really into a circle pit, it's really easy to not be a part of those things. Yep. Super easy to not be a part of those things.
Signal, I want out. Just point, turn around, point at the edge of the pit. Just, I need to get out, and people will let you out.
We're gonna use John's mic because it's still hot.
Okay.
That way we don't have to split.
Thanks.
How's it going, pal?
It's going good. So, I went to go see Opeth live.
Ooh, good show.
Yeah,
good show.
really good show. Drove like 3.5 hours to upstate New York to go see it.
Worth it.
Oh, absolutely. It's like 12 in the morning, and this is my first like live metal show.
Mm-hmm.
Pit opens up right in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
I had never seen a pit before. Never it was total first time experience. What would you say to somebody who, if you're standing in a pit and the pit opens up around you and you didn't want to be in that pit,
Mm-hmm.
what's the fastest, most efficient way to get out of the pit?
Just book it.
I'm about to say,
run.
I would turn my back towards like wherever the outside ring of the pit is. Put your forearm up as we explained before, so that way you have visuals to see who's coming at you, and you can just that, and then people will let you out because pits just form. That's a good point.
There was like no warning. It just I was at the edge of it, and I was like,
Right.
what is happening? Why are they hitting each other?
Some good warnings. Sometimes I know, like, when we go to open a pit, we'll, like, put our hands up like this, and you'll have friends that go into the center and then open wide and duck back like that. So if you see that sort of thing forming, you might see a pit open there. But, yeah, so if you're in the middle of a pit that you don't want to be, just find your easiest exit, forearm up, just so, especially at a show like that, because that's heavy stuff.
Last thing I just want to say is I did get the pleasure of seeing Super Thrash Brothers live once, and it genuinely was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
I appreciate your kind words. Thank you very much.
Hell yeah.
Come on up, Brendo. How's it going, brother?
Hello, everybody. I kind of want to give this as a PSA or another tip for us older moshers and also bigger moshers. Do be very careful of those who are smaller than us, thus being younger
Spatial awareness.
or smaller. Be very special. Yes.
Watch
like
out
that.
for the little folks. They want to have fun too.
Exactly. I had seen Super Thrash Bros at Colossal Connie's. It was a wonderful, wonderful show. And I had the pleasure of introducing a kid to moshing
Hell
with
yeah.
his father. I very much kept him on the side, watched over him, make sure he had a good time. The father came over to me and thanked me a lot, and I want to make...
Father of the Year.
Yep.
Father
Just
of the
keep
fucking year.
active eye on those smaller or younger than us in the pit. They want to have fun like us, but, keep them safe.
You don't want to
you, Fred.
scare them away. You want to make them want to come back.
Exactly. It's the only way our community grows.
How's it going, friend?
First of all, thank you for this panel.
Sure. Thank you for
Happy,
attending.
thank you for coming out. Yeah, literally, there's a lot of our friends here, but there's also a lot of randos. So thank you for coming out. This really means a lot. It's 1 o'clock on day one, and you guys, it really means a lot that you guys came out. Thank you. And the people we don't personally know that are still here for the Q&A, and everybody we don't personally know that already asked a question, thank you so much. Really means a lot. Anyway, carry on.
I've never been to a metal concert.
Put the mic a little
sorry.
closer.
I've never been to a metal concert, but I have been to a Caribbean one, and I have seen moshing in that setup.
Sure.
For Sean Paul, actually.
Okay.
Interesting.
Insane.
Okay.
Like, there was a wall, and then there was, it wasn't a circle, but it was a push.
Okay. A push pit at Sean Paul.
Yeah.
Huh. You never know when it'll form.
America.
In South America? Wow.
Wow, all right.
I was 16, so
Wow.
That's awesome. I mean, you never know when it's going to form. I've seen mosh pits open up at EDM shows. Like it's nutty.
They're
when
fun there.
when Skrillex hits that wop wop, people go nuts. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I also see it at Caribbean weddings. Like, we have circles.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's fun.
That's awesome.
And we let the tiny ones go in the circle so they can get used to being in the circle.
That's awesome.
I go to weddings where they play the cha-cha slide and the Cuba shuffle. I want to go to a Caribbean wedding.
Just keep the mic a little close to your face, please.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome. Enjoy.
Come on up here, Matt.
What's going on, brother?
Hi, I'm Matthew, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Matthew.
I've been addicted
That's
to...
That's the next panel. What's your question, bud?
Just a little thing. I was at a mosh pit for a Dennis Benson concert in Kearney.
Nice.
Bar has hardwood floors. We're having a fun time. It's a small bar, hardwood floors, small little mosh pit going on. Guy starts throwing ice on the floor.
No.
Dick.
Don't do that. Don't be that guy. And if you see it, if you see the
Who
guy
the
throwing
Iceman?
ice, go find someone. Get rid of him. Like,
Yeah.
either tell him to first ask him to stop, and if it persists, get someone.
Drinks will get spilt. That does happen.
Drink,
but never
spilled
get
drinks in the
spilled
pit is an
intentionally.
occurrence.
Yeah.
No one's going to be like, wow, thank that guy for pouring ice in the pit. I really needed that ice.
He
in the pit.
really greatened my experience. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can absolutely.
He was outside the pit. He was outside
You
the pit
can-
throwing
you-
it in too. So.
I was about to
that's
say.
pretty much it.
So.
Yeah.
But
do everything you can for the safety of everyone.
Yep.
Without defensive, not offensive.
There we go.
So thankfully here, I think all the floors are carpeted too. So.
Very true.
It is indeed.
Very true.
All the fluids are soaked in.
I hated that.
Moist.
First off, thank you so much for doing this panel. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for attending.
Thank you. Saw them at CCE as well. It was fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
First, one other tip I heard, because of the Vans flats, a lot of Vans you get in malls come with really crappy insoles. Do your feet a favor and grab some better insoles.
Get some loose, get some
It'll
insoles.
improve
They
the
do
endurance at the show, so you'll be able to mosh longer, and you'll have twice as fun.
They do have the padded old man Vans, as I call them, too. I had a pair until I destroyed them. They are
Take
quite
care of
wonderful.
your steppers.
So worth it. But to my question, just like with that Enter Shikari video of the circle pit, more
I
often
am
than
so happy you knew that video.
Dude,
They are literally my favorite band, and I was just like, I wanted to slip one in and see who notices, and you're my fucking hero.
man,
for
I had to
noticing.
learn Take to the Skies on drums. I had to. But one big thing that people will see at a lot of these shows that are like heavier, like punk to metal, all that, is some of the players, like guitarists, vocalists, going out into the crowd. I was hoping to hear your input on what the moshers should do as far as their etiquette when going around the band members. And
Very
going around
true.
their gear.
Very good question. Very good question. Enter Shikari, definitely, they do that a lot. Their guitarists and their frontman jump out a lot. Treat them with even more care than your fellow man, because if they are on tour, They have to do this all over again in the next town tomorrow. Take care of them. Like, if a guitarist or a bassist or a frontman, frontwoman, what have you, jumps into the crowd, you should cradle them and hold them and treat them with the care that you would a newborn baby. Like I'm not kidding. Like, you guys are laughing. It's like, you got to take care of these guys. Being a musician is really difficult, especially in this day and age where there's venues that are trying to take cut of your merch, and the music industry is not kind to those in it. So you got to make sure to take care of everybody you can. So if somebody jumps into the crowd and they're a musician performing on stage, treat them with even more care than you would your fellow person in the pit.
Thank you so much.
So I'm not that familiar with like the music side of MAGFest. I've like usually more board games and things, but I've been to a couple shows that were really fun. I heard about them through word of mouth. Like some friends were like, "Hey, let's go to this one." I think we went to Cowabunga Pizza Time, and
Good call. Yeah.
Good choice.
They got main stage this year. Give it up for them.
Yeah. And I think I fight dragons.
I Fight Dragons.
I Fight Dragons.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that was a really cool show. So I was wondering, do you have any suggestions for shows this year at MAGFest?
Oh man,
Metroid Metal and Bit Brigade.
Yeah.
Metroid Metal and Bit Brigade. You will see me in that pit. You will see me in the pit for those two shows.
Best say, as we mentioned, Cowabunga Pizza Time. There was one other, let me get back to that one.
Yeah, no, we'll circle back to that. But yeah, no, but we'll make announcements for the shows that we'll be attending later. But thank you. What's going on, man?
I also have a crowd surfing story to share.
Go for it.
Have at it.
Something like 15 years ago, probably. I was at a Slayer show.
Slayer.
Yeah. And there was a couple guys out there who were really cool that were like, they were just going around asking me like, "You want to crowd surf? Come on up," and then they would just hoist them up, and then they would go to the next person. And it was funny because every time they would do it, they would like high five each other afterwards. So eventually they came up to me and they're like, "Hey, you want to crowd surf?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've never done it before." So they're like, "All right, come on up," and they like hoist me up there, and I don't know, I'm probably up there for maybe 10 seconds at most, but people are moving me around, and like they push enough that I like flip over so that I'm like, face downward. And at the same time as I do that, some guy who's right under me just goes right into my junk.
Oh, no.
Like,
don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
Anything you crowd surf with, you might lose, so just be careful.
Yeah.
So just think about that. If you're thinking about crowd surfing, just be careful.
Yeah, and if you're thinking about punching someone in their genitalia, don't.
And one other shout out for Super Thrash Bros at Colossal Con. It was such a fun show.
Make some noise for the Super Guitar Bros too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, stop it, you.
All right, thank you.
Just real quickly before the next question, I remember someone commented, Ninja Saga is playing at the Jam Space tomorrow at 9 p.m. They flat out commented on my post in the 21 Plus, so if you want a two-steppable, pitable band, I want to go see them, so hopefully I'll see you there.
How's it going, my friend?
Hey, going good. So besides losing weight and being a healthy human, what's a good way to kind of increase your endurance in the pit so you can just
Sure, good question. I mean,
That's a
of
good
course,
question.
frankly, going to more shows. I mean, like, if I'm gonna, I could tell you to work out, and working out is great for you if you have the motivation and desire to do it, and it doesn't feel like a royal pain in the ass. But you know what doesn't feel like a pain in the ass? Going into a show, blowing your stamina as far as you can do it, and then going to another show.
Much like we did at the beginning of this show.
Exactly.
Or this panel.
Pace yourself. Don't go back to back to back to back. You're not trying to kill yourself, of course, but make sure and frankly, I mean, just like exercises, ride a bike.
From a personal standpoint, I find that I work out best when it doesn't feel like I'm working out. I'm trying to find a job right now that has a lot more motion and a lot more movement as a part of the job, so I can get paid to move around. Spencer and I live in an area that is very bike friendly, and over this summer I lost about 20 to 30 pounds just riding my bike. Don't applaud. I found it again. Don't worry. Don't applaud. I lost 30 and I found 50.
We got a whole nother summer to lose it again. Don't worry.
You're absolutely correct. But personally, to give you my experience, I find it's easiest to work out when I'm not thinking about it. So running around in a circle pit or in a mosh pit, it's cardio.
Oh, yeah.
As you can tell, like, if you were here at the beginning of the panel, we were two-stepping. We were sucking wind through those first two.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Sure. But yeah, no, just repetition and knowing your limits, I feel like would be a good one.
Colossal Con East was a great show because there's a hot tub afterwards.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, go ahead,
Sure.
go ahead.
I would also just add, like, going for a walk for like 30 minutes every day, or like as much every day as you can.
True.
I've been doing that for the past 4 or 5 months now, and I can seriously tell.
Yeah.
Just I'm not running out of breath as much,
Sure.
or it takes longer before I get out of breath, and like
Another
you
thing,
lose weight real easily.
Another thing to do before, and as equally important as before the show, after the show, stretch.
Stretching is punk rock.
Myself and the co-frontman of Super Thrash Bros, we have a stretching routine we do before every show and after every show. And if you've seen us, you know why we do it. But if you're moshing and you're dancing, you got to take care of yourself as much as you take care of the others. Make sure you're stretching like in line for the show before. And when you get home, stretch before you go to bed. Your muscles and your neck will thank you.
Even if you're not going into pits, it's not a bad routine.
It's also not bad just to stretch in general.
All right, so I have two. I have like a comment and then a question.
Sure.
So it was said when people fall down, pick them back up. That being said, look around you when they fall. Make sure you're not stepping on them or their belongings.
Very true.
I literally got hurt this weekend because they tried to pick me up and I had someone standing on my hand behind me. And my wrist went in 2 different directions. So that's why I sat out Big B.
Yes.
So be mindful of where you are when people fall. And then my question, which I think would be good for general knowledge, what does it look like when the pit starts and opens up, and how do you keep that space once it's open?
I mean, what I usually do? No, of course. So you're talking. So your question was, just to make sure that everybody heard it. You have to. What does it look like when a pit gets opened up? I mean, I know when I'm in Super Thrash Bros and I'm on there, I'll just call for it. I'll just tell them open up that fucking pit, and usually they do it. Pay attention. If you are looking to open up a pit, what I usually do is I throw out what I call a tester shoulder. Nothing too serious. Just kind of like to the guy next to you, and if he throws one back, yeah, like just kind of start small, start with your buddies, and then see what happens. If a pit is opening up and you don't want to be around it, much like we said earlier with the question earlier, put your forearm up, take a few steps back, and be a part of the perimeter. Perimeter is just as important to make sure that everybody stays safe.
I think it's fair to say, too, just MAGFest is a bit of a different environment, too. You just flat say, like, hey, we're going to probably dance in this area. Just let people know around you.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with just blatantly
And, of course, let them
saying,
know that
like,
they're welcome, too. Because, again,
absolutely.
the pit is for
everybody.
There we go.
Hi, guys. My name's Leanne.
Friend of the group.
Met you once or twice, yeah.
I do want to touch on shoe wear again really quickly.
Sure.
And just clothing in general. Wear something comfortable.
Yes.
You want to be as comfortable as possible. Do not pull a me. I'm wearing platform sneakers and floss, essentially. You want to be as comfortable as possible. As someone who does mosh in these shoes, they're the most comfortable shoes I've worn, but do not go over 2 inches if you are going to, and if you do, cosplay shoes, not a good idea. Definitely be very mindful of the height of your shoes, especially if you're wearing platform Vans. Those can slide. I have experienced it in a pit where the platform Vans, you slide off.
Like a little closer to the mouth. No, it's on.
It's on?
It's on.
Okay. Hi. Make sure your shoes are the correct height. If you have ankle support, wear your ankle support. You do not want to roll an ankle.
Not
Ever.
fun.
Not in a pit. It hurts.
It hurts even when you don't do it in a pit.
Well, yeah. But falling in a pit after rolling an ankle makes it a little more difficult to get out. Be very mindful of the shoe wear you wear and the clothing you are choosing to wear. Comfortable is key.
Comfort is key.
Excellent. All right, we got 4 people and about 10 minutes left, so let's just.
Let's. We don't got to speed run it, but if you're not already standing to ask a question, sorry, you missed your chance.
Oh no.
Go ahead, my friend. How you doing?
Hey, there we go. Hey, I'm doing all right. I was not here for the last half hour. I'm
That's
not going to
fine.
ask you to go over it, but I've never been in a mosh. Any like recommended resources? I just want to make sure people are having fun, but I'm also a socially anxious person.
Of course. To basically just speed run and give the cliff notes. Know your limits. Yeah, we can actually just go back. We have
my
the
gosh, thank you,
technology.
Do that. Listen to him, and no, we'll do that. There we
Yeah.
go.
So there's different types of
Do the pit etiquette slide.
the pit etiquette slide. If you see someone who's fallen down, you just got to make sure you pick them up. Safety is key. Know your limits. If you are the kind of person that gets winded or doesn't really necessarily feel comfortable with the idea of being mashed around and like bumped into, maybe the pit isn't for you. And most importantly, if it's not for you, that's okay.
Yeah, there's no pressure. No one should ever feel pressured to need to be in the pit. It's for everyone's enjoyment.
Your commentary also about kind of doing like a test to kind of see where how hard I guess people are moshing.
Yeah.
It was also helpful.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you very much.
So I don't really have any questions, but I went to my first mosh pit back in the summertime.
Five Iron Frenzy, yeah.
Yes, you were there. And one just recommendation that I have, aside from just stretching, specifically your hips. Your hips will start to hurt the first time you do it because I realized it about halfway through the concert, started stretching, and suddenly half of the room started following my lead and was like, oh yeah, hips.
It's
Other
punk
thing,
rock to stretch.
Water. Make sure you have some. There's almost always
Hydrate
water
or
on the sides
dihydrate.
of rooms. But please hydrate. You will get way thirstier than you realize, and suddenly songs will stop, and you'll be like, oh, I'm dying of dehydration.
Yeah.
So please stay hydrated because I had to literally stop what I was doing at one point, turn around, and go just get water, and I was on a singular mission for that. And just make sure you stay hydrated because it is a much bigger workout than you realize.
Yeah, no, you're going to be sweating, and when you're sweating, you're losing water. It's very important to make sure you stay hydrated because you don't realize you're dehydrated until it's too late. How's it going, pal?
Hey, so question, as somebody who is an emergency responder, is there, if you see somebody go down in a pit, is there methods or techniques that you can give advice for how to get them out, like phrases you can use to make an exit or...
So what I typically do is if I am close enough to the person, I will, and I'm 6'5", so I have a big wingspan. I can just do this and just take a step back. And typically in mosh pits, when you see somebody doing that, you're like, oh, what the fuck's this guy doing? You look at the guy and then you see the guy that fell down. When someone is down, you make room for them to get up on their own. And if somebody can't get up on their own, what I typically do is I go up and I try to get behind them. I thumbs in, 4 fingers out, right under the armpits. You get their armpits in the crease of your elbows, and you just lift them up. Use your legs, not your back. You don't want to be the second person that goes down and have a pile up of bodies in the pit because that's not a good idea either.
Is there a good way to basically open yourself a path to get out? Or
I would typically put somebody, great question, typically I would just guide them out, put a hand out like this, like just like yell, make way, move, kind of have one of these motions, and just guide them out.
Perfect, thank you.
Throw them. You'll have to toss me.
Don't tell the elf.
If the person who, typically you're not, like the shortest person in the room is not going to be the only person that sees it. But if that is the case, bring it to somebody else's attention. If you are not confident in your ability to lift the person who has fallen or be helpful enough to get them out, there is nothing wrong with passing the buck along to somebody else. There's nothing wrong with that. And again, knowing your limits.
Right on.
One last question.
Comment and a question.
Go for it.
First thing, if you're running across the pit, guard your throat. I have been punched in the throat one too many times at a pit. Cross, guard your throat.
Guard your throat. Hit him with one of these.
Absolutely. Oh, no. Got you, baby. No problem. Question. If you run into one of those dude bro guys that is just going in there to crowd kill, what should you do?
Get security. Every concert that is worth their salt and be safe, to get them safe, you got to just find security. Typically at concerts, they have, depending on the venue, they have bright colored shirts that say in big black letters security across the back. If you see somebody that's a problem, they say snitches get stitches, but someone who's crowd killing in the pit is going to give a lot more stitches than the guy who snitched. It's all about keeping each other safe.
I'm about to say, you can also, it might be a situation where that dude bro gives off that vibe, but they really just have no idea what they're doing. They went to a pit, so if you can communicate with them, try that. If you can, size yourself up. If you can, security. Maybe not in that order.
All right. Let me check the time real quick.
I think that's about.
We got 5 minutes. I see two people raising their hands. We got time for three. Excuse me?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we got 5 minutes. Absolutely. Let me pass the mic to you, friendo. No worries. Nothing wrong with that. Trying to hit the switch.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Go for it.
I guess I would be like a elder hardcore fan.
Fantastic.
I'd been going to shows for about 32 years, and one of the things I want to talk about, and the reason I couldn't stand in line, is make sure you have really good insurance. I am about to get back surgery from the many, many years from like age 12 on of going to shows and being in the mosh pits and being pushed up against the stage and all of that. And I now have a teenage daughter who I'm like, please be careful, especially, and I was like 100 pounds less. When you're short and you're a female, you're gonna get pushed and nobody's really gonna pay attention, but advocate for yourself. And when you said put your arms up, put 2 arms up. Especially if you're shorter, put your arms up like this, push everyone away.
Yes.
Because my back is killing me. And my husband, who also was from this, I actually met him at a show 22 years ago, now has knee injuries. So almost all of it was lower back and knees. Be careful.
Be careful, and remember how much an ambulance ride is if you're not insured, because nobody in this room can afford it. Oh, yeah. Gentleman back there, you said you were raising your hand. Want to take the mic, or you just want to yell? All right, go for it, brother. Yes. Yes, they're. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yes.
Right. Right. Just to repeat the points, just in case anyone didn't hear it, always look for your security. You can find them in the front, and if it doesn't hurt, if you're towards the front of the show, to just look behind you, see if there's any incoming crowd surfing and something like that. But I think with that said, thank you for attending Mosh Pit 101.
Thank you for participating. All of you have graduated.
I know you couldn't tell, but this was our first panel, and I feel honored to be sitting here. I never thought it would ever happen. And
This is genuine.
Grammy speech later.
This is genuinely, and I think I can confidently speak for both Spencer and I. But this was a really cool experience.
Yes.
And this turnout was way better than we could have even hoped. So thank you all very much for coming out.